Welcome back everybody to WCS America Premier League Round of 32 Group E, and our Round of 32 just keeps getting better and better. Nate, I just tweeted, I think out of all 6 WCS America seasons, this is the best one so far. Almost every single day we have something memorable, something unique. Even in the day where Paul just dominated the group and Jaedong advances, a lot of people would have said like, well, that was kind of predictable, right? Well, the way that Paul advanced was also special, so even that day was unique. It's been awesome so far. It's been a lovely ride, and we've just started.
You know what, man? That's really the kinds of things you just see all the time, the effort that goes into practicing and playing. And some of the guys that you hear about that you don't see as much of, all of a sudden start to get a little bit better as seasons go by. And we've got players like Neeb moving on, like Ariam, and potentially Ariam or HuK from this group, but it's going to be at least one of them, which is really awesome, I think, for WCS America.
Yep, HuK versus viOlet is going to be our next game. It is going to start on Nimbus. We might have to re-host, because I'm not sure actually if viOlet was here or not. But it's going to be an awesome series. Now, we already said it before the break. These two guys, Nate, they have a serious rivalry. Every now and then you have facts, and I'm taking a look if viOlet reacts immediately, so we're all good to go. That's awesome. I'm happy to see that. I was worried. It was bound to happen once that I would mess up, Nate. Anyway, we're going to hop into the game and I'll tell you guys all about the history between these two, and not going back multiple years, but you know, every now and then we bring out stats and you're like, oh, they've played against each other like so many times, but obviously you have two Europeans that have been like active in the scene for 4.5 years. Yeah, they will play against each other 10 times over the course of 4 years. That's likely if they're both always on top. But since the start of 2014, HuK and viOlet have played against each other in 9 competitive series. That is insane.
Yeah, that's actually really crazy, and a lot of them in qualifiers, no less. And these are the matches that really count the most. If there's anything that you've learned, if there's anything that you've picked up on, now is the time to break it out, because this guy really wants to go to the round of 16 and represent Canada. From Evil Geniuses, he is the Blue Protoss HuK.
Score is not in favor of HuK, but that doesn't change that much, and it's even a little bit deceiving, as over here on the right top side of the map we have a Korean Zerg player hailing from Korea, but he's currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, so he's in America as well. It is viOlet. Like you said, Nate, these two guys definitely know each other. The score is 7-2 in favor of viOlet at the start of this year. Just going back over their 2014 results, that includes a lot of best of 3s and 1 best of 5. But 4 or 5 of those best of 3s, Nate, finished 2-1 in favor of viOlet. His best of 5 win, which I believe was at Lone Star Clash, finished 3-2 in favor. And HuK was so close to winning that final game even. They played against each other in IEM qualifiers, in Red Bull qualifiers, Red Bull main event. They played against each other in the Wearer.com Invitational, in the Twitch.tv and this game tournament. They've played against each other so incredibly much. It's been one of the most fun rivalries to follow over the last few months. And like I said, even when the score is 7-2 in favor of viOlet in series, 4 of those series were 2-1 victories. It could be either way around on any given day. So this should really be an awesome series.
Yeah, this is a really cool matchup to watch, because HuK, you know, if you want to describe HuK, his personality translates well into the way that he likes to play StarCraft. He's a bit of a, you get a little bit of the playboy attitude. He's not afraid to get rough early on in the game, but he can still play a sharp late game. And viOlet, if there's anything we learned, even when he got a massive lead in his match versus Ariam, he's willing to take things pretty damn slow. But he's also not afraid to bust out the you know, the wheel of cheddar when it's necessary.
Nope, definitely not. HuK has not scouted at all. It was a Nexus first into Gate, so he's not paranoid by the chain of events today, by all the crazy threats that we have seen from my Zergs. He is playing blind, he's playing economic, but he has nothing to worry about, as viOlet did the exact same thing. It is a double hatchery before spawning pool opening over here for viOlet, and no extractors either, Nate. So gonna keep a close eye on that. Gonna keep a close eye on HuK if HuK will ever be able to scout this. I wouldn't be surprised if he sends his Zealot to the right top side of the map. That does mean that he leaves himself very exposed at home, but once again, HuK not afraid to roll the dice a little bit. He's so experienced, and even, you know, the other day we saw him die against the Speedling opening. It didn't really freak him out. It doesn't change the way that he watches PvZ. He's just
this is actually a really good series, I think, for Arium to probably tune into as well, due to the chance that he might have to play versus viOlet. Get a read, because you kind of... HuK is one of those guys that you can really learn from. He's one of those very experienced players when you look at these competitive scenes, and his adjustments to the way that viOlet plays, I think, are always going to be interesting to see. But that chrono boost on the warp gate, with only 4 probes mining gas, we might still see some 2-base pressure here.
This is going to be a 4-gateway opening, and this Zealot is distracting viOlet quite a bit. Maybe HuK is even able to pick off a drone. Yep, he gets one. But above all, Nate, because of all this, oh, he almost gets another one. Still no extractors on the map for viOlet, and he's firing up 7 more drones. HuK is already wiping in 4 gateways at home. Both extractors going down at the 6-minute mark. In theory, Nate, this should be too late. If I know my HuK, I think he's going to be able to make this work.
Well, he needs to get a pump. That Overlord doesn't see him, right?
Yeah, it's so close.
Nope, barely slips by, but there's the next Overlord, and he will immediately see the pylon placed.
Is it going to be in time? I don't think so.
He doesn't have anything to kill that pylon with.
There is nothing on the map for viOlet to kill this pylon. These pylons are going down in the face of viOlet. viOlet is going to try to do the same thing as Revival did. Stabilize with roaches.
And slow Zerglings? Yeah. I don't know, Kev.
This is really one of those moments, though, where HuK, if you wipe... Oh my god, he's going absolutely nuts with the pylons. If HuK wipes in... I guess Zealous at first is a better choice against all these Zerglings. Has to be careful, though. You want to babysit. I feel that HuK is spreading himself a little bit too much all over the place, but he's still going to be able to wipe in so many units.
If these Zealots get surrounded, that's where things get really tricky. The Mothership Core is going to help to target down the Queen, which is the range support for these Zerglings. Now additional Zealots are going to get warped in. And, I mean, you know, Zealots are always going to trade versus the Lings, and I'd even like to see him pull some of them back because he wants to, you know, regenerate some of the shields. But this is still, you still need a dedicated answer to this, and he has a Roach Warren, but he doesn't have any Roaches.
viOlet is splitting up his Zerglings. He's taking down those 2 pylons on the south side, and yeah, that's awesome and all, but that also means that he can't win this fight anymore. Did he cancel his Roach Warren? No, he let it finish.
Yeah, he let it finish. He's not building any. He thinks he can hold us just mass Lings.
That's not going to happen, especially not with slow Lings. A couple of force fields will go down.
HuK has so many. He's got backup pylons for days, man. You're not gonna cut the head off of this Hydra.
I think this is now almost GG with the approach that viOlet is taking to it. Of course, HuK, you want to keep your units together. He is going to lose a couple of Zealots over here, but he's still working off 7 gateways. So it's even okay to lose a couple of Zealots here and there. Starts working on this hatch, that means less reinforcements. Now the first Roaches will see daylight. I want to keep your sentries alive, but still, he can wipe in like 5-6 more Stalkers. I would really like to see him get a few Stalkers now as well, despite the crazy amount of Zealots that he already has. He could let a force field, he can zone out all these units.
Birdlings trying to kill a sentry.
There we go, first Stalkers are showing up to the party. Digging it, Nate.
Well, they get immediately surrounded, but you do have some good support from these Zealots. Additional Stalkers being warped in, and I feel like HuK's already got this. He's in the main base mineral line, hacking and slashing at drones.
He's in the natural as well. There are drones in every single base of viOlet, and our EG Protoss, he knows how to take advantage of these openings. And of course, this was him rolling the dice a little bit because he didn't see the extractors, but he did know that it was a double hatch before pool. He was just going to try his luck, and he will succeed in doing so. GG is called. HuK once again defeats this double hatch before pool with late extractors built.
You play greedy versus HuK. He's going to look at you and basically be like, no. Yep. Like, I'm going to put some pylons. I'll warp in 6 pylons just to make sure that even if you kill 4 pylons, I can still endlessly warp in Zealots.
That was a pretty bizarre approach to it all, and I'm not sure if I was digging it all that much, but in the end it worked, and that's truly the only thing that matters. He kept his weapons up, warped in so many units. viOlet tried to defend with it with just Zerglings. I think on one small moment he almost had a chance to take out most of the Zealots, but he split up all his Zerglings because he's like, you know, normally we always say like, hey, if a Zerg is able to shut down the pylons, that's really good because you force the Protoss to come back. But like you said, HuK dropped like 6 pylons. So he's like, okay, send your Zergling southbound, please. Split off your army in like 2 pieces, because that means that you can't kill my Zealots anymore on the north side. So he was okay with it. Yeah, HuK just doing what he does best. And in situations like this, he punishes the greed of Zerg players.
Really good job from HuK there. The second map will be Overgrowth. The real question now in everybody's mind is, will we have a regular macro game on Overgrowth today?
Yeah, we haven't seen one yet.
It hasn't happened.
All right, both players are ready. Go, Farsight. Both are ready. It's possible, as he's going to leave. viOlet says ready again. I just want to make sure that HuK didn't tap. HuK, Double check. Rather be safe than sorry. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty, so game number 2 is going to be played on Overgrowth. Like you said, we haven't really seen a long drawn-out game yet on Overgrowth. It's definitely one of those maps where I feel HuK feels very comfortable going up to 3 bases. You know, opening up with just a 1 gateway, a fast expand, or maybe a Nexus first into 1 gateway, getting 2 more gates, or sometimes even getting a 3rd Nexus before anything else, but just getting 3 gateways, then getting the Twilight and the Robo. That's definitely what I'm expecting from HuK. I think viOlet, perhaps a tiny bit paranoid after that last game, is probably going to open up a little less greedy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a smaller map too, so when you try to get in position for things like that, maybe hiding a pylon's more difficult, but in the rush distance, if a pylon gets up, well, it's not very far for this young man who certainly loves his gateway aggression. In the top right position of Overgrowth, the blue Protoss player representing Evil Geniuses, he is HuK. One map win away from advancing on to the round of 16, a place where I'm sure he would agree he belongs against this fella.
Who feels the same way?
Yes, I imagine both these players, you know, they had a fun little bit of banter before this match even started. They're very, very competitive, especially knowing how much they play against each other.
I mean, that's insane. Their 10th competitive series of the year. This is, of course, the Zerg player who's currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, together with Bolt. Represented by the CSN agency, it is viOlet. Very ripped.
Yeah.
viOlet hits the gym as much as he hits the ladder. And he does have a crazy amount of ladder points.
It's hard to find time to do both, that's for sure.
Maybe he plays StarCraft on a tablet. Maybe he's that good. He plays on a touchscreen.
That's how I gotta step my game up, man. I gotta find a way to play with my elbows while I'm doing curls.
It's going to be a hedge first over here for viOlet, but of course that doesn't mean there's going to be a double hedge before pool. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him drop the extractor before the pool to just open up with quick speed, take control of Overgrowth, and I think that HuK's going to take a more slow and steady wins the race approach. Unless, you know, he sees that viOlet again is going to be as greedy as he was. Like, if HuK scouts this, I won't be too surprised if he tries to do something about it once more.
What? He's not...
viOlet's going to do it again.
Yeah, he's not going to probe scout on this map, though. Not yet. I feel like usually your standard late scout for PvZ, if you open like this, is you use the probe that builds the cybernetics core.
You know what's funny as well is that Zealot, that scouting Zealot, because the probe went to the left bottom side of the map, it actually worked out so good for that probe not to be detected. Okay, viOlet is dropping a very quick extractor behind this, so it is still the greedy opening, but it's the greedy opening with more safety, something he did early today against Ariam on Nimbus, and that just makes, you know, it is a little bit counterproductive because now you're gonna have all this lava which you can't really work with because you have, you know, you sacrifice 4 drones, 1 for the extractor, 3 to mine gas. So it doesn't really add up all that perfectly anymore, but it is definitely a lot safer, and if you make it through the early stage in this game, you do have this hatchery and you do have this lava to work with already.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where HuK goes from here with this then, because he's got his Nexus on the way, but playing as blind as he has, he's not really gonna, you know, he's not gonna be in a position where he can make his follow-up to this expansion based on anything that viOlet has done. He could blindly assume that he expanded, but he can't say that he wouldn't have gas, because we know he has gas, and that would potentially put him at a big risk if he did something a little bit too greedy or aggressive.
Warp Gate is already quite a bit in. But like you said, Nate, HuK doesn't know what we know. HuK doesn't know that this is different than in the last game. In the last game, if this would have been the same opening for viOlet, he would have had a much better time in dealing with this build from HuK. However, this time it's going to be a Stargate opening, and that is going to make things a lot better for HuK, because of course that Stargate will be able to scout everything that's going on in the main base as well. He does have to worry about this wall though, because 12 speedlings. Ugh. viOlet, what are you doing?
Speed is a little ways off. You don't think he's just going to pocket Lings?
I'd like to say no.
Well,
but I think he is.
This is certainly something we haven't seen this in a little while.
Nope. Happy Zerg had a crazy build like this once. Mr. Bitter and myself have told the story many times. So what is really important now for HuK is that he doesn't go too greedy. He gets the Oracle before he gets the Mothership Core. He does have a sentry though, and I think as soon as he sees the first set of links, he has this probe scout as well, and he's gonna see these Zerglings. He's gonna see a few more Zerglings.
What are you making all these Zerglings for, bro?
And he's gonna see Zerglings over here already. He's like, hey, that's like, I have the feeling that's some more Zerglings than I expect.
Oh, is there an Overlord? He's like pulling his... Oh, he's moving his Stalker to check for an Overlord.
Well, he does still have the sentry, so if he's quick with the force field, he should be alright. He has a forge as well, and he has a gateway, Nate. He actually has 2 gateways. HuK should be fine. As long as the Zerglings don't stream into his main base, he should be more than fine. He shouldn't take crazy damage over here. He's even seeing a couple of these Zerglings already. That's a nice little tell. HuK, force field. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, okay, he's going to hold
he
this
can wipe
off
in
so
2
far.
sentries.
Now this Oracle is going to try to go to work in the midst of all of this. He's going to continue to reinforce his
Spore
wall
crawlers are late.
with pylons. And yeah, this Oracle, he's just shift queued right to continue to kill drones. And he's held his natural for now.
This is really wrecking viOlet's economy. Okay,
he's
so
only killed
far,
3 drones. Actually really good control by viOlet. And he's going to kill the Oracle. Okay, no kill, but...
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse, but it doesn't change the fact that viOlet's economy is still incredibly slowed down because he opened up with 28 speed links that didn't accomplish what he would like to, other than forcing out 2 additional sentries. But, you know, that's really not even a bad thing for HuK. He's going to have them. He's going to lose a few Overlords because of the Phoenix. He already lost a few more drones. HuK's going to wipe in more gateways. I think he smells blood. He's like, hey, you opened up with all those Zerglings. Now you're making Spore Crawlers. How much money can you truly have as a Zerg? Well, obviously the answer is not unlimited.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart play by HuK, but he needs to be able to get a sentry across the map, and that's going to be difficult.
That will be a little bit difficult. However, once he cleans up the Overlords, there's not too much scouting except for the Xel'Naga watchtowers.
This is 8 minutes and 30 seconds in, and HuK is still up in workers. That's very unusual.
Yeah, he's got the economy for days going on this game.
But Roaches against straight up gateway units, especially without blink. Okay, now we see Twilight and Robo. I think it's a smart decision. I think maybe he was just paranoid. I like this by HuK. I like it a lot, actually. Because I don't think the gateway push would have worked.
It would have been difficult to make work for sure. You said it, Roaches. A lair isn't done like crazy fast, so his Roach speed won't maybe be done by the time all those other gateways completed. However, I think you made a very good point in saying how is he going to get sentries and a pylon
across the map.
Across the map.
Yeah. If he would have had a probe hidden, then I think he could have gone YOLO and wipe in like, you know, maybe 1 more gate and then just go 8 gate as a follow-up. And I think then it could have worked, but the fact that he had no map presence at all and that he had to march his way across the map. He has a lot of defensive zealots. I'm very surprised to see this.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, you're certainly not going to cancel this Nexus with Zerglings.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, good point there, Nate. This is really awkward because not very often do you see all these zealots in this phase in the game. Zerglings will probably try to find an opening, but the zealot is keeping the door shut for now. Swarmos is probably going to be the next unit for viOlet. viOlet is definitely very good with Swarmos on Overgrowth. These two have had a couple of epic games actually with Swarmos on this map. One of them games was played at the Lone Star Clash 3, early May. That was an excellent series between them. Game down to the wire, game 5 on Habitation, where HuK almost had Tempest out, but then just barely not in time. So, oh my, look at all these. This is so random. I have not seen this like ever. There are 13 zealots running across the map.
At the Mothership Coin and Oracle. It actually gets a couple quick swipes on these bad boys.
I mean, there are, how many, 12 roaches actually more than enough. Like, these zealots won't, these zealots are gonna have to wait till a rainy day. Just send them back, wait until eventually you ever have charge, and then try to find a useful meta for them, because this was not going to be it. This is so funny.
You guys did a good job, but it's not your time yet.
How often do you see this, Nate? This is a zealot train.
I mean, if you're asking me about my PvZs, usually over by now. Either win or loss.
What a cool little army. Alrighty, so here are the Swarmos on the way for viOlet. Makes a lot of sense because he also knows that this game early on did not really play out the way that he would have loved to. So it's not like he could just go for Roach's Link pressure because he just didn't have the economy to completely overrun a Protoss. Roach Hydra would also be very risky. A Muda Switch not really an option against a Stargate already and not a great economy. So pretty much the only unit that is just a good choice in every single way against the units that he's facing and the way that the game has played out so far is the Swarmos. It's just the best choice so far. Yeah. It is a unit that will allow him to make a comeback because that's sort of what he needs. Because if you open up with that many links and then you lose a few drones, it's just not ideal as a Zerg.
No. I like that the Oracle is keeping track of the Roach movement though. He can try to posture his army better.
Blink is ready. +2 is ready as well.
The first of the locusts begin to
I
wail
think
on this.
HuK can cancel this
Yeah, I
gold
think
base.
he can cancel this, and then he doesn't have his mothership core with him, it seems, so he can't recall. But with force fields, he could probably buy himself enough time. Yeah, those Hormels aren't really in a good spot to defend
I would
this
like
anyway.
to see him kill the static defenses as well. That's 5 drones that he's getting over here, and above all, a couple of buildings. The locusts are pretty much about to expire anyway. Very smart, he doesn't renew those force suits immediately. The roaches are counterattacking, but we still have the Zealot squad over here.
There's the Photon Overcharge. He
And
has an Immortal. He has the Photon Cannons.
He's going to be fine.
Perfect defense from HuK.
Yeah, now all these roaches are out of position, which maybe allows this army to do something more. This game is getting crazy. All the roaches are going to work on the natural now. Do we have another Photon? He needs a force field.
HuK. Okay, he's warping in some Zealots. He's ready to let him funnel through. These drones get caught trying to escape the third base of viOlet. And HuK, all he really needs to do is just use his force fields to hold these locusts at bay.
Wow, he's getting the second base as well, and it's safe to say that the roach counter by viOlet was the wrong decision, as he ends up losing not just his gold, but he loses his third base, and now he could even end up losing the fourth as well. A Void Ray is the next unit of choice for HuK.
HuK's army is about to get collapsed upon, though. Yeah. This is a really dicey position to be in. He does not have that many force fields. He does not have recall. He has actually nothing to really get his army away from all these roaches.
That's right. He has Blink, so the sentries are going to die. The Stalkers can just leave the sentries for that. If I was HuK, I'd just let my sentries die and try to save the Stalkers. Something is better than nothing. But in the end, Nate, I think this is still good. He killed 2 bases.
Yeah, actually, Stalkers managed to avoid the roaches so far. Like, they're eventually going to get caught,
Blink.
but...
You can Blink. No, doesn't care.
It's a sad life.
Sad life to be a Stalker in HuK's army.
I mean, he's transitioning into more powerful units now anyway, right? He's getting the Void Rays, getting the Colossi, which when you've cut down on the Zerg, when you've chopped off enough limbs, yeah, they regenerate, but it takes a little bit of time. And
really bizarre game now, because that's also not a game that you don't see them play out like this very often.
This is not a standard PvZ.
No.
This has become a very awkward PvZ. I like the word awkward. This definitely fits
I
it.
definitely trade my sentries and my Stalkers for 2 mining bases. The second Robo is about to finish up, so it's going to be similar to how he dealt with Revival, double Colossus production, and then try to get out a lot of Blink Stalkers. He's currently sitting on 8 gateways. By the time he wants to move out, he'll probably get 1 or 2 more. This Phoenix has been doing work. Now I'm starting to get hiccups. I hope it stops.
Well, now there's also 17 swarm hosts on the map, so this is a very potent defense, and he actually has that Oracle in the bottom right, trying to pick off some more drones, so...
I'm very surprised by the high Zealot count still for HuK.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Oh, he sees this War Prism with his roaches, too. He's gonna know, he's gonna be like, oh, well, I guess I have to worry about this. This is one way to get rid of them Zealots. They're certainly not gonna do much versus these swarm hosts. Or he can just warp stuff in with them too. That's fine.
The Oracle can work on these drones over here in the right bottom side of the map, but actually decides to come back home, maybe drop a Revelation. He's gonna look, oh, you don't have to work on this base. No! That's a very unfortunate death for this Oracle.
Peace.
However, I still kind of like HuK's army, Nate, because the swarm host count, okay, it's on 17. Actually, viOlet has done a good job in stabilizing again. viOlet is very good in making sure that he doesn't underdo it when it comes to swarm host. He'll much rather overdo it than underdo it. He cancels the 4th base, and slowly but steady we're getting in a phase in the game where HuK is losing a lot of resources. Like, they were even after that crazy phase. They were exactly even, 6,200 resources against 6,000. And right now HuK's already lost 2,000 resources more, trying to do something with this Warp Prism, but viOlet has roaches in the right place as well. Now this roach counterattack at this 3rd base of HuK is starting to become very annoying, and all that HuK wants to do is grab all of his units and march across the map. But viOlet is really starting to pick HuK apart. He's dealing so much damage with these counterattacks and all these locusts.
He's not leaving any opportunities here. These Void Rays are going to charge up. The Colossus are back, but now the Vipers come into play. Actually gets him in between locust waves, so he will be able to save these forces for now, but how much further can he really afford to push before he's in too deep?
HuK really can't go too deep. 2 Colossus are so low on HP, Stalkers are about to die. He just doesn't have enough firepower in this attack. 1 more Colossus gets abducted. It was a full HP Colossus. The second full HP Colossus gets abducted as well. And this is turning very, very painful. He did kill 3,000 worth of resources. I guess those were most of the roaches. But HuK has lost like 8,000 in the last few minutes. And he's only on a 3-base economy. He's just been losing too much now.
Yeah, this is a tough position to be in. The Zealots really didn't do too much for him for all the investments that he made into that. And he does have a lot of Colossi, but if the Viper control remains good, it almost doesn't even matter.
Yeah, HuK really needs a 4th base if he wants to go crazy on High Templars and Stalkers and, and afford all the good things in the Protoss life. And right now, if you look at his main is pretty much dry. Look at the natural. There's a little bit of money left, but he really needs support base. There's no other way. Do it.
Hydras deflect this Warp Prism that tries to move in, and viOlet, man, he's got everything going for him in this game now, I'd say. He's a 5-base Zerg that has a gold, and in that situation, I feel like you're rarely unhappy as a Zerg player, with static defense covering all your entrances as well.
Yep, especially because he already has the Hive, he has Vipers, he has missile, +3 missile attacks on the way. Doesn't have any armor upgrades at all. I mean, it's still scary, because if a Protoss player maxes out, drops a couple of good storms, fight Locust waves one by one, anything is possible. Good cancel on that warp in there. That would have just been a complete waste of money with all the Hydras and Roaches in the main. HuK's gonna try his luck again, but this time it's just more to push the creep back, which is very important when playing against Swarmos. Locusts on creep are so much more intimidating than they are off creep. Because you look how fast they are. It's like, High Templars run, Colossus run, Abduct. He stepped a little too far. He needs to recall, but he forgets half his army.
This is not good. Not good at all. He's trying to get that 4th base up, but he's opening himself up to more attacks from his opponent. And these Zealots actually can't really do too much against that Queen because they don't have charge. And yeah, he just tries to hold position if you Zealots try to kill drones, which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's just hard to make it work.
It's better than nothing. He's getting the best over here. He got a Queen and 6 drones. That's actually a pretty good investment. What's not a good investment is losing 3 Colossus and a Void Ray and a couple of sentries like that again. Just when HuK was starting to look a little more healthy again in this game, just when it started to look like, alright, he's gonna get an army that he can work with. He has the Templar Archives, he's securing a 4th base, he's pushing the creep back. He really had to back off. He just sticked around a little too long. And you can't make any mistakes against viOlet. viOlet, you know, when he first started playing Swarmos, you could see that it was not really his thing, as viOlet has traditionally been a very aggressive player. However, he got so much better at it over, you know, the course of the last 6 to 9 months, and now I even feel he's one of the better Swarmos players out there.
Yeah, he's really come into his own with this strategy. It's just impossible to attack into the Swarm House with regular gateway forces, and then as soon as you try with good control, he just makes the those abducts do work, and they pretty much seal the deal for him.
There is a Spire on the way as well. There is a second Spire on the way now as well, as they're all next to each other. So viOlet is going to start his air upgrades, can use Corruptors if he really wants to, but above all, if he gets rich enough, he can always decide to switch into 40 Mutalisk, and it's never really a bad moment to switch into 40 Mutalisk, Nate. Unless there are 40 Phoenixes, but if there's not 40 Phoenixes, it's a good moment to switch into 40
Well, I mean,
Mutalisk.
if there's 40 Phoenix and the Protoss player probably doesn't have enough anti-ground forces, I don't know, man. He's going to get up here. I mean, this army still looks surprisingly potent for HuK, but he absolutely must get, like, clutch feedbacks on those Vipers.
Yep, and I mean, he needs a little more. He needs Storms as well. He doesn't have Force Fields anymore in this army.
He doesn't even research Storm, though.
Yeah, that's a good
Makes
point.
things tough.
That's why I don't like that. He has 5 High Templars. They're all full on energy. He's wiping in 4 more now. Maybe those are for Archons. I'm sure that's the case. meanwhile, viOlet is sort of counterattacking. Forces a recall. Not sure if there's an observer with the army. A couple of the Roaches will get picked off before they make it into the main base. Ooh, viOlet miscontrolling his Roaches over there. Still, there is a single cannon here, so HuK needs to split off a couple of units. 10 more Swarmos on the way. viOlet is a little paranoid.
He's really committing to this Swarm Host play. He's making him so super immobile. 25 Swarm Hosts is what he's going to total up at.
Yeah, that's pretty much as many as you want to get. You really don't want to get more, especially not on this map. Maybe there are a few maps out there where you can get away with like something like 30 Swarmos, but there's really no need for 30 Swarmos on Overgrowth.
No.
Careful with those Archons.
Oh, the force fields are pretty nice. Archons do deal incredible amounts of damage to these Hydralisks, but that bank, I'm slowly starting to just get more and more antsy. He's throwing up more spore crawlers, and I feel like we're going to see Mutalisks soon. Yep, there we go.
And I love it, man. The game sense between these two. HuK fires up his first Phoenix immediately, fires up his Fleet Beacon immediately, just when he realized, like, hey, I killed quite a bit of Roaches and Hydras there. Where's all this free supply gonna go? There's a good chance that he will throw it into Mutalisk. 23 Mutas is scary, Nate, but it actually hurts viOlet now that he doesn't have more free army supply. The Locusts are still doing some work in the middle of the map. I don't think he wants to fly on top of this army, though. There are Stalkers, there are 3 Archons. I mean, with Locusts, yes, he can. But without Locusts, HuK is spreading himself all over the place.
This is tough. Once the Colossi are down, I feel like... actually, the Archons are already dead. I think the
now the Mutas
could
can
just kill
go.
This. The Mutas could just kill all of this right now.
Yep, you're right.
No contest, man. Storm's not done yet, so he can't even hope for like miracle, amazing storms.
That's something we know. That's not something viOlet knows.
Yeah.
But you're right. viOlet can fight this. HuK is trying to get as many Phoenixes out as possible. Abducts? Nah. He could have a double abducted the Void Ray there.
The Mutas are actually just going to go straight to the main and power down the Stargate because he knew where the first one was.
3 Phoenixes is probably not enough to combat this army, especially not without any Impulse Crystals. It's going to get very, very difficult here for HuK, who does have 2 cannons, does have a Munishing Port to fall back on, but I think he's going to lose most of his Stargates here. There are Overseers as well. They're actually being annoying. Abducts can be used on the Phoenixes, by the way. Sick play.
Really, really difficult to deal with, and I feel like this is going to give viOlet the edge. I mean, I guess the game really. He's kind of had the edge, but I don't see any way that HuK recovers from this.
Nah, this is going to get very difficult. Just when HuK was starting to get money out of that fort base, have a scary army. I think again he overcommitted a little bit there in the middle of the map. If he has like 2 Archons at home, then with 3 Phoenixes and 2 Archons, and then maybe a Storm or 2, you already scare those Mutalisks. And I think HuK would have been able to buy himself enough time to get enough Phoenixes out eventually. Now it's going to get so difficult. He has 3 Phoenixes. He's built. Oh, what are you doing with them? Oh, no, he has 2 Phoenixes.
Awkward. You really need those Phoenix at this stage of the game.
He has a lot of free supply. Could definitely work with that. There are 26 meters on the map. 26 is scary, but it's not like 40. So a couple of Archons in a Storm or 2. Now the Fleet Beacon is going. Oh, he lost the. Yeah, I thought he had a Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, he got picked off. Right before he researched the range upgrade too, I think.
That's also you're
really
right.
Frustrating.
Yeah, you're right. He got picked off because he did fire it up. He dropped it at the same time as he dropped that new Phoenix. However, Templar Archives gets picked off, so that means no more Archons for a little while. He also gets another Void Ray, which I do not really understand. He has plenty of Void Rays. I really wouldn't want to get any more than he currently has. A couple of Storms are landing actually on top of the Void Rays as well. He will take care of most of the Locusts. With a little bit of luck, HuK might be able to take out a base, but if we look at the bank of viOlet, we realize that that is not really viOlet's biggest concern right now.
Yeah, viOlet is pretty rich right now. He's got no shortage of income in this game, and HuK, he's trying to make these Phoenix work. He's trying to make them cost effective enough to deal with this, but he would need the best control of his life basically to somehow equal this one out with just his Phoenix.
Yeah. He shot down the base, but these trades are not good for HuK because viOlet just has so much money, and HuK is losing very, very expensive units that he can't really replace. And he really wants to. He could drop a Storm. That's a good Storm. He's going to drop a second Storm as well. viOlet actually just going to fight this. Doesn't care about the Storm at all. If that Archon finishes up, I think that HuK is going to be able to kill all these Mutalisks over here. Well, the Overseers are still being really annoying.
16 Corruptors on the way.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice.
It's pretty much all over but the crying. Our Protoss player has lost pretty much everything. 141 supply against 40 supply. The Muta count is still, it's at 11 now. I guess he's going to have to use his Swarm Host a little more aggressively. I think it's time, viOlet. There you go. viOlet's so good, Nate. So good. He knows.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to pound this one in. I don't think there's much else HuK has left in this game. We're going to have to go
I really wonder how this game would have played out if HuK didn't 3 times lose a few too many real Protoss units over here to snipe this base, which is really irrelevant. I think we're looking at a different PvZ then, because then maybe HuK has an easy time getting Phoenix count up to like 12 to 15 with any Impulse Crystals. And now like he just can't deal with the Swarm Host anymore because he has lost everything, even when he's starting to get a reasonable Phoenix count out. It could have been a different game, but either way it was a very good game by both players. It was a very entertaining game, and it wasn't an easy victory for viOlet at all. He really had to work for it. 32-minute slugfest on Overgrowth. But he is going to even up the series, so we're going to go down to the rubber match. Once more between these two guys, it's going to come down to game number 3.
Yeah, and this has been a pretty intense series so far. HuK using that early aggression to get himself the early 1-0. But viOlet has a way of just slowing things down. You're not going to be able to end the game quick if viOlet can build up a reasonable 3-base economy, because he will go Swarm Hosts and he'll play ball with you all day long. And when you're HuK, when you like gateway units, Swarm Hosts are kind of your natural predator.
Definitely. Even though HuK is capable of dealing with Swarm Hosts, I think in this game it was just a very hard game to read for HuK because of that crazy early game, and then that weird phase where all the roaches are counterattacking and he just took out 2 bases. So I think that HuK had a hard time figuring out when is the right time to actually move forward and not. It was a hard. You don't really play out a whole lot of games like this where you don't have a good feel about your opponent's economy. Like for us, it's always very easy. We sit here, we read all the numbers, and it's very easy for us to see what HuK has to do. HuK kind of has to trust his basic instinct every now and then. I was like, is this a correct choice? And he moved forward, and he just lost a few too many expensive units a couple of times because viOlet had more to work with than I think that HuK expected him to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a tougher call for him to make as the player with a little bit less information, but
a little bit. We have everything, Nate.
Well, I mean,
we see everything.
We do see everything. King Sage Station will be the deciding map of this series, which has had some interesting builds, some interesting plays.
I feel it's a good map for HuK. I think it's a map where HuK has had quite some success on. I think it's one of the maps where he really excels in shutting down creep from Zerg, and we saw on Overgrowth as soon as the creep really starts making its way across the map how hard it is to deal with that. Either way, HuK's ready. viOlet, okay, viOlet's ready as well. Good luck and fun, both players. So it is very even between these two guys. It is so even. They are 7-2 in series so far over the year. So you'd say like, well, viOlet is kind of dominating HuK then. No, well, all those series, or at least so many of them, went 2-1, and the ones that HuK went were actually 2-0 victories, and there was even a 3-2 victory for viOlet. These guys, they just trade maps back and forth, and it's really important that for both of them to win this one, because the loser of this series is gonna have to go up against the guy, a youngster that's waiting in the deciders match of today. Arium, and Arium is dangerous, Nate. Arium is wild, he's young, he's reckless, he can do stuff.
I'd be scared to play against Arium because I have no idea what he's going to break out in that series. That's going to be, whoever has to go up against him is going to go up against some crazy stuff, guys. We're loaded into game number 3, the final map of our winners match here. WCS America Premier League Group E. And our first player in the top left position, spawning in as the blue Zerg and representing evil geniuses, he is HuK.
Now everybody's just falling apart. Today has been crazy. It's been crazy now for the production crew. It was crazy for you as well, as of course we're looking at our blue Protoss, Nate. Blue Zerg, you silly you.
Did I say Zerg?
Yeah, it's okay, Nate. It's been a super long day, especially for you, man.
I've done a lot. I've casted a lot of StarCraft.
This is Nate's second broadcast of the day.
My second tournament I cast today.
Over here in the right bottom side of the map, we do have our red Zerg player, who is, of course, viOlet, hailing from Korea, actually currently living in Atlanta. And once again, this is HuK. HuK likes to drop the pylon on the low ground when it comes to King Sejong Station. He likes to get the forge, and I feel that viOlet knows HuK a little better than Revival knows HuK. So viOlet is not going to be stubborn and go head first on this map where HuK just always gets pylon into forge. viOlet opens up with a spawning pool. That makes sense.
Yeah, against a player like HuK, when you see what he did to viOlet on this map, you do not want to take that chance. So, drone comes down, he's like, hey, you got a pylon here, let's just make sure everything's nice and safe. Actually, I love that he tucks it in, because now he can start the hatchery, and since HuK didn't see the drone waiting to build that hatchery, he doesn't have any motivation to try to put a pylon there and block it, and thereby viOlet can just build it. He's like, yep, can't delay me, get my hatch when I want it. And now there's a Nexus on the way for HuK, so he's like, yeah, I guess I can't really do too much.
It's my build order. I can build how I want to, Nate. Do nothing about it.
Cannon rush if I want to. Fast expand if I want to.
Wouldn't cannon rush though. This is HuK doesn't really sweat this scenario at all. He knows that he's not playing against like one of the most greedy Zerg openings out there. He's just gonna follow it up with the Nexus. Of course, he would love to cannon rush if he can, but when it doesn't work, there's definitely no man overboard. He's definitely not behind. And I'm very curious where both players are going to take it. I think HuK is gonna go up to 3 bases rather quickly. However, sending out now another probe. Maybe just to confirm things. I'm not exactly sure.
I feel like he wants to check for a 3rd base, right? Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost a given.
Yeah. A tweet from Fear Dragon. The guy does the breaking out invitation. So I love viOlet and Revival, but I will die of happiness if HuK and Arium make it through in #WCS. That would be, you know, I'm happy enough that one of these players is going to get through. I don't actually know how I would react if they both did.
But, you know, it's going to be awesome anyway. I really looked at this group, Nate, and I feel that all 4 players are awesome.
I like Revival. I like viOlet, but I was really hoping we would get at least one of these Protoss players through. So I'm personally already pleased enough as is.
Me too. And yes, I play Protoss, and of course it's always awesome to see on North Americans. But viOlet is also a guy that's very near and dear to my heart. And see one of the Koreans and one of the foreigners advance, I think is already super awesome. And anything else, well, it's cool. It's just cool that we have at least one foreigner, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now HuK is going to scout with his probe. What is he going to see? What is he going to react? He should be able to see that viOlet is going up to 3 bases. He does not know that viOlet doesn't have an extractor yet. That's something we know.
Yep, viOlet's just sitting pretty, just cranking out the drones without that gas. And I mean, he might take that greedy 6-minute gas again. Basically just say,
this is a greedy opening. But I feel this is a map where HuK has shown us a lot of Stargate play in the past. So that would work out well for viOlet. So far, HuK hasn't taken any assimilators yet in his natural. If he wants to, he's going to do that real soon. Zealot, Mothership Core. Could also be a big gateway explosion. There's an Overlord in the main base. That Overlord wants to see something that's not there because there's just nothing to see. Now we see the extractors go down. They're really late.
Yeah, big +1 push. I would actually be surprised. But
8 gate +1. Let's go.
Boy. Hey, Roddy, be careful what you wish for.
That could also just be HuK going up to 3 bases like this. He's only at 39 probes now, so he's been spending Chrono Boost on other things than just probes. I think as soon as his Overlord dies...
He's building Spore Crawlers, huh? He's actually concerned about the possibility of that Stargate play that you mentioned.
Yep, or Dark Templars that he's even worried about. HuK is going to send out a probe. Now, he can definitely go up to 3 bases like this, but I feel it's a weird setup. Like, something is not connecting in my brain over here. This, like, Alicia has done this build multiple times where he pretends like he wants to go up to 3 bases, but actually it's just a 7 or 8 gate +1. Does HuK have another probe out on the map? No, he doesn't. Okay, maybe it's just normal play by HuK after all.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of weird that he wants to go up to 4 gateways, all the way up to 4 gates. Maybe the crazy amount of speed links on Overgrowth scared him. I have no idea. Yeah, now we see Twilight. Okay.
This is definitely a bit not exactly what I was expecting. You can go into +2 blink though, which I always like in this matchup. I feel like this has become such a good go-to for so many Protoss players. There's very little reason not to do it.
So we have 12 speed links on the way. The speed is being fired up as well. 2 more gateways going down for HuK. It could just be a good old 8 gate +2 blink Stalker attack, or even just +1, but the +1 is already ready, so there's no need to not get +2 as soon as that Twilight is done. And HuK's gonna try his luck with that. And with just no robotics facility, let's try to be as aggressive as possible. He doesn't have to attack, of course, but it's always nice. Macro hatchery going down for viOlet already.
Yeah, he's getting Roach speed and Zergling speed. Perhaps we're going to see a big flood of Roachling once these upgrades complete.
Yeah, then all these gateways for HuK are going to work out really well, Nate, because he's going to have so many units to warp in at once. You know, this is just part of the wall. I feel that HuK has the pieces in the right place to deal with the aggro viOlet, and this kind of seems to be shaping up like viOlet wants to be very aggressive. Old school viOlet style, no swarmos to fall back on.
No, but he starts to beat drones in +1.
This is the type of setup though for HuK that if he doesn't take any damage from these units, which I really don't think he will, he's gonna be able to march across the map and maybe win. Now this infestation pit goes down, but if HuK would see what we see,
he's a long way off from Stormhouse. Yeah, you're
exactly.
Right. If he pushed, like this robo's about to finish, if he builds an observer and pushes with his +2 and blink, maybe he could spike this one in fast.
Yeah, I have the feeling that this is not gonna be this game is not going to be as long as Overgrowth, because I think HuK is going to try to win or die trying pretty early on. He's in 59 workers now. viOlet working on this debris. That's going to make things good for him. If this... Where is the infestation pit? Yeah, over here next to the macro hatch. So it seems like the Phoenix is queued up for it. It's going to see enduring... I think it's already almost too late for HuK. So things for HuK is just time to drop a robo away and double robo, but... It's gonna be tricky, Nate, because this macro hatchery and then already this fort base as well, and this fort base being in the middle of the map. If viOlet stabilizes over here, the Swarmer is gonna have a really easy time eventually to move forward. There are a lot of force fields going down over here on the left up side of the map. He actually traps a couple of these roaches. Now, of course, for viOlet, this is not the end of the world because he's already getting all of his Swarmos. But maybe this will do something with HuK's state of mind. I don't know.
I mean, that one Zealot really wanted to kill roaches, but I don't think he wasn't designed for that. Poor guy. There's an Immortal on the way. 12 drones are being produced in the back of these swarm hosts.
Yeah, HuK has killed pretty much every single normal unit that viOlet made. But that also means that viOlet just wants to fall back to his swarm host now a little sooner than I expected him to do it. But in the end, it's a good choice by viOlet because HuK had so many gateways that it would have been really hard to make Ro32 play work. And now HuK is going to try to just pick viOlet apart. He's going to make a Warp Prism. There is no Robo Bay yet, the second one. Well, now we go. Now he's getting both. So he's actually preparing for a later stage in this game as well. And I've seen him play some beautiful games on King Sejong Station. One of the games that he played against Scarlet in Red Bull Battlegrounds qualifier was some of the best HuK play that I've seen in months or even in a year. It was such a good game. But it's a long time ago, and viOlet, of course, different type of player than Scarlet as well.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. It's very different styles to look at for sure. I'm really wondering where exactly he wants to go. So the second Robo in the robotics bay kind of says, okay, Colossus, but he's not quite ready to commit. I mean, how many units can you really force out? Like he's just gonna go into mass swarm hosts again.
Yep, viOlet's gonna go mass swarm hosts for the longest amount of time, and HuK is gonna try to pick him apart with Blink Stalkers and Colossus, but this time being in a better position than he was on Overgrowth, I guess. Even though he was in an okay-ish position on Overgrowth, he just overstepped his boundaries. The game was so crazy that he lost a few too many units. This time he knows exactly what kind of situation viOlet is in. And I think that HuK has a lot more experience in this situation, so I think he's going to handle it all a little better.
Yeah. Sword Prism in the main base, just being threatening, not really making any use of it yet, but he wants to pull the army out of position, and maybe he can try to snipe a Spine Crawler. He actually blinks forward. He's going to trade a Stalker for both, which, alright.
It's okay.
Yay, nay?
Doesn't really matter to either side. What matters for viOlet is that he didn't lose a hatchery or something like that. HuK was looking for something there, Nate. He was not looking to win the game with that push because he's transitioning. But he was looking maybe a couple of good force fields, zone out a few units, then get a hatchery kill. Meanwhile, let my Warp Prism distract him in the main base. But none of those things really came together. So that's a little bit unfortunate for our Canadian Protoss. Once again, if you guys just joined us, the winner of this series will advance to WCS America round of 16, secure themselves an additional $1,000, and of course, they will be flown out to Burbank here to play in the round of 16. Unless you're Ariam, maybe we can organize him a helicopter ride.
Yeah.
So he gets flown out.
I mean, it can't be that expensive to get a 10-foot helicopter ride, right? It's like, well, you only need to go.
Let's go to Toys R Us and buy a play helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. You only need to go 1/50th of a mile.
Either way, there are a couple of locals being misrallied, so HuK's actually going to try to jump on top of this arm, but the swarm host count is very high, guys. Actually, it's just 14 now. I thought it was higher than that, but there's still 17 roaches as well. The force fields are really good. This might allow HuK to get this hatchery as an Immortal in the mix as well. Maybe even getting a couple of swarm hosts. He has the Warp Prism over here too. Now this would be an excellent moment to warp in some units. He gets the hatchery and he's going to back off for now.
Recall! Boom, he's out. And that Warp Prism, well, he's taking some pain from the Spore Crawler, but he's got to diversify his harass and split those Zealots up. Yeah. Warp Prism dying is a bit unfortunate, though. Killed a few drones.
It was a little bit unfortunate these things happened one by one and not simultaneously.
But now the Vipers are coming out again. There's 3 Stargates on the way for HuK. He's preparing himself for the potential Mutalisk switch, which we, as observers of this game, know isn't coming because there's no Spire. There's not even a Spire on the way.
It's not inside yet, as viOlet doesn't have that much money. He's been spending most of his money of the 4 bases, and now he even temporarily lost his 4th base. And he's also been forced to reproduce a lot of the roaches. So HuK is getting a little bit ahead of the meta with this one, but that's alright. At least he has them, Nate, and if eventually he has to worry about it, he will have very quick access to it. And even if he makes a couple of Phoenixes before that, Phoenixes is not that bad. They can be annoying against the Viper, so it's all good.
Yeah. +3 missile attacks, which are going to help for the roaches and the swarm hosts. Overlord.
Void rates for now, so HuK knows it. Yeah, it's just. Okay.
He is real. I guess he actually lost some of his swarm hosts before. His mostly roach swarm hosts is his army, which not terribly mobile, so it gives HuK an opportunity to try to get some harassment. I guess these Zealots aren't doing anything. Dat micro, man. No roaches shall die, not in this fight.
Alright, it's a very even game. If we take a look at the unit loss resource step, you guys can see 6,000 and 6,400. Both players working with a very acceptable economy. Ooh, a couple of Hydralisks being annoying. Not sure how many probes they got there. Just...
That is annoying.
Okay, like just 4 or 5. So no man overboard. Double Warp Prism now on the way. This is something that HuK did back then in that phenomenal game that I guess.
These Hydras have baited him all the way over to the right side, his whole army, just to get an observer over there. And now Is his Mothership Core with this army? He needs to recall to that natural to deal with this. Yeah, and he will. But
might end up losing a
Colossus.
Colossus.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, he has. I think he has an Observer with this army too, which is doubly important because he really needs to make sure he doesn't get too many roaches planted into his main base.
Yeah, and he also wants to make sure he doesn't get driven crazy by...
Colossi sitting on roaches, I think.
It's okay.
I mean, they're all going to die anyway, so it just depends on what he wants to kill before the roaches die. Now
If those roaches, if those roaches would have burned, they would have all died. Yeah, there was a chance that he could have picked up this one low HP Colossus that already took some real HP damage.
But look at this, man. The pendulum continues to swing Rotterdam because he's going to clean up these roaches in his main base eventually, but now his fourth is exposed, and these 2 photon cannons are not going to cut it.
Recall?
Yeah,
he's going to recall. He's not before losing a lot of probes though, so it's still a good move for viOlet. But HuK is also reaching the phase in the game where his army is feeling so strong, so confident that I think soon he's going to try to bust through. And the Swarmos count is not as high as an Overgrowth. This is not 20 Swarmos, it's 16. And I feel that's something that's, I almost want to say breakable.
Yeah.
I really think it's breakable for HuK. As long as he lands a feedback or two, as long as he's careful with the storms, as long as he's able to dodge the Locust Wave and doesn't get like 3 Colossus abducted and then 3 more, I think this amount of Swarmos is breakable.
It's gonna be tricky. viOlet's building up a reasonable bank behind all of this to replenish, you know, what forces he'll lose, and he's actually +1 air attacks and a fleet beacon. I can't say I ever disagree with the fleet beacon past 20 minutes in a PvZ because these double spires do represent a very realistic threat.
It's so cool how they're both doing that at the exact same time without scouting it of each other. It's just excellent game sense on either side. You can see these are 2 seasoned veterans. They're both pros. They both have been competing since 2010. Maybe viOlet 2011 you can say, but I know that viOlet was playing Wings of Liberty in the beta already as well, and he was doing good back then, representing serious gaming if you really want to flash to the past. It's a long time ago. Storm drops a little bit. Yep, he's going to be able to get a lot of these drones. Oh, man, imagine.
He just kind of softens them up. Now that Archon would like one-shot giant clumps of them if he could.
Archon's like, clone, come back. Send the drones back. I'm harmless.
It's like, where's the warp prism? Where's my evac?
The guys? Oh, look at these
drones.
Oh! One more. One more hit is all that we wanted. 22 drones have died throughout the game. 13 probes have gone down against all the roach arrests.
That was almost beautiful.
Now, HuK, some people might be wondering, like, hey, when are we going to see carriers? When are we going to see Tempest? I'd be very surprised if we see either. Not because I think it's bad, but I know it's not really HuK's style. I've rarely seen him make those units. Some Protoss players are just not that comfortable sitting back with those very expensive, slow, hard-hitting, but also immobile Protoss units. Some Protoss players just prefer to try to break this style with Colossus, with Stalkers, with Storm, and maybe throw in a few Void Rays, but above all, a lot of harass. And here we go, once more, Storm drops raining over this mineral line. So HuK is finding himself an opening. Now he's actually firing up a Tempest. Okay.
He's already starting to work on the upgrades from 17 drones on the way. viOlet's like, yeah, okay, I really need to get my worker count back up. He's down to 45 drones. Now he's going to shoot straight back up to 62, which is on par with his Protoss opponent. And this static defense line does make ever actually engaging the Swarmos directly almost a fool's game.
So HuK is getting a couple of Tempests, which I'm surprised by. He doesn't have a big mothership yet. He's also not a big fan of that one. It feels it just gets abducted, I guess. I can understand it. I really like it when some players use it. Arim tried to use it earlier today. It can be good situationally. Some Protoss players even say that it's a must. I think Litut always gets the big mothership as well. But some Protoss players just feel like, well, it's such an easy target for abducts that they avoid it. Now HuK is going to start it, so he's like, oh, you know, I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. More storm drops landing as well. A lot of drones have gone down. 41 now. A couple of minutes ago was just 23.
Yeah. The Locust Waves are going to start to push on this base. He's getting some cannons. Oh, the Vipers come up. Abducts 2-3 Colossi.
Oh my god. That's a very good abduct over there by viOlet.
Yeah, HuK doesn't have the mineral income to actually replace these. He's invested a ton of resources into all this Zealot harass.
Feedbacks, HuK. There he does go triple
he gets
feedback.
The feedbacks, but he still loses another Colossus, takes a lot of damage on his others.
Uses a lot of energy.
Yeah, energy doesn't trade very well against free units.
I definitely liked HuK's position a lot more 2-3 minutes ago, when he was just facing 14 Swarmos and he was almost maxed out on Colossus, Blinkstalkers, Storm, Immortals, and a few Void Rays. Then I like it now. I feel with sitting back, yes, he has done a lot of economy damage, but look at viOlet's bank.
viOlet knows there are Tempests on the map now too. He's getting his air upgrades. And that mothership is about to finish, so things are going to get a little bit interesting once that happens.
Yeah, it's going to be slightly easier to take care of these locusts. It's going to be slightly easier for HuK to stabilize on this base. Few roaches are just like in the face of danger, still picking up probes. It's kind of ironic. Meanwhile, a couple of Hydras being super annoying on the left top side of the map. This is a few too many Hydras to just warp in a bunch of Zealots and take care of it. So HuK has to really send his forces.
He's positioning the Zealots with the
That means that this Nexus nade is taking so much damage.
You don't just send your Void Rays to deal with this part. Oh, but the Locusts are still pressuring that
fourth. The Void Rays are dying against these Hydras. Things are really going bad now for HuK. If you take a look at the unit's last resource step as well, HuK is harassing, so he definitely has that going for himself. More spines are finishing up over
when
here.
Your opponent has swarm hosts, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Look at this Hydra, it's fighting so cute. Oh. It's so funny. Look at it.
And these Hydras, they break out the claws, man.
It's fighting like a little kitty. Either way, HuK's still doing work to the economy of viOlet, but viOlet is doing work to the economy of HuK. And then all we have to do is just compare the resources that are saved up. 6,400 gas. Ooh, big mothership got abducted as well. I don't like how this is going for HuK at all, Nate, just because he's starting to become broke. And he's lost so many expensive units. They were even in resources lost a while ago. Now he has lost so much more.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what to do for HuK, because the only thing is, like, at some point, viOlet might actually spend too many minerals to make an epic Mutalisk switch, which I don't know if you really want to do when your opponent has this many Stargates, but with the mothership up, you don't want to lose that Nexus. This Nexus is like really important, but he's also focused all the attention here because he's taking that base in the top right now, which is also, I think, really crucial for his potential in this match.
He can actually send the Swarm hosts a tiny bit closer, which means that these Locusts will live a little bit longer, and I think they will do even better.
Under the cloak shield. The DTs have been doing some real damage, though.
It's really good for HuK that he was able to shut this base down on the left bottom side of the map. That's definitely something that he has going for himself. It's going to shut down the drone. It's going to be annoying. HuK normally runs around with hit squads with an observer, and I would feel it's so important for HuK to start taking out the creep on this side of the map. And he's so good at that normally. I'm sure that he has 2 observers. Come on, HuK. If he would just have a single observer over here, Nate, and take down a couple of those tumors,
if he moved all those probes
if
he moved all those probes sitting at his third into that 5th base on the right side, there's only 4 mining workers there.
Yeah,
like, he could boost his income so much.
Whoa, big abduct, the big mothership core, big mothership will fall, but it wasn't for free for viOlet. He lost a couple of units there in the process as well, but still, that unit is so expensive that it's almost always worth it to just fly in, headbutt them with your Corruptors, just go for it. Now the Nexus is of course no longer cloaked, so the Locust is getting closer and closer.
Right, he's gonna move these probes. He's moving them back into the natural. I'd really like to see these probes go to the right. Like, he's not mining that right side base. He's gonna do all these drops and these harass, that's fine, but HuK could have so much more income right now. I really don't. Like, is he this distracted by all the stuff that's going on in this game?
I think that's the case. He actually could have indeed been mining off this base for so long.
Those probes have been there for like the last 3 or 4 minutes. That base mined out a while ago.
HuK wipes in 5 additional Archons now. I think he's like, hey, I'm so broke, but HuK, you have so many idle workers.
What did he do with all those other probes he moved from that right side base? He put them all on this one mineral patch with like 100 resources.
Yeah, HuK has like 20 probes that could be mining that are not mining.
I really feel like he could have picked up at least like 4,000 or 5,000 resources off this base by now.
And I think now he's going to transfer a couple of probes. He still has these probes not mining in the left top side of the map.
Yeah,
but
above
above all,
lost the base.
Yeah, and he also feels that he's going to be forced to take this fight. Blinding clouds land, storms going down. But it's almost never good to step on creep like this. Even though all the Corruptors...
Get under the Corruptors, that's one way to do it, baby. Moving forward now. And actually, as long as these Wormhosts have to deal with this army, that's going to allow him to mine off that base. So suddenly, HuK, he's got another breath of life.
He really needs to use observers. I'm so surprised that he doesn't use any of his ops. I guess he doesn't know that he has them. I know that he doesn't use Control F2 before this swap. Now he's making 2 more observers. So he's not aware of the fact that he has a couple of them.
Yeah, this is awkward. Oh, these Locusts he's actually done a lot. He's kind of walking through.
Yeah, and the Archon Ball is definitely scary. But do we have more storms? This time there are no more storms.
The Tempest Ball is also real because there's not really too much. Well, I guess he built another wave of Corruptors.
I mean, Archon Tempest is intimidating.
Yeah, you can't get close to the Tempest because the Archons just absolutely face roll them. But he needs to watch about how far he gets pushed to the left side because he doesn't want to get he doesn't want that top right base to be isolated. It is his only income.
How many Swarmos do we have? We have 16 Swarmos now. There are 18 Corruptors on the map for HuK.
He's got observers with his army now.
Yeah, so important. Like, if he would have been able to take care... But he doesn't still have this Dark Templar, I believe, right? On the hold positions. DT actually got 5 kills already.
You shall not hatchery.
viOlet's probably wondering every single time, like, what's happening?
Why isn't my drone, like, taking a base? Like, are you kidding me? I'm so surprised that he spends any money on Zealots. Like, yeah. I actually, all these probes still sitting at this third base still make me feel really uneasy. Like, those have been there for a long time.
Yep.
7 Spore Crawlers on the way. He still has a reasonable number of Vipers, too, so this is where those Tempests are going to become slightly less effective if he can start to pull those in.
It would be awesome if he could feedback a couple of the Vipers, because like, viOlet was very rich, but after he makes 17 Corruptors, then things disappear very quickly. Suddenly I'm starting to dig HuK's position a little bit more again. He has high Templars as well, doesn't end up losing some of them. Where's that Warp Prism? He could potentially drop a couple of sick ducks being used, but there are no Locusts right now.
Yeah, he's moving through now. The static defense is starting to slow down just a little bit. The storms are actually hitting a lot of actual units now too, not just these swarm hosts. Where is that Warp Prism? Okay, it's actually by his top right base. So he's not ready to use it just yet.
HuK could try to take this base.
I would like to see him take. There's still so much money left. Yep. He's got his whole army parked here. He might as well. Now all these Hydralisks are going to be like, yep, time to finish this base off.
I think HuK feels a lot more broke than he should have been.
Yeah. I honestly, HuK being broke is a product of I guess the stress of this game, because he just has not been able to focus on actually utilizing all the income that was pretty
this is a really big fight now. The Abducts being used, Spore Crawlers working on these Colossus. I'm afraid that HuK, even though all these Corruptors are again dying though, is HuK actually making his work, Nate? viOlet is not that rich anymore.
Yeah, he really needs to kill this hatchery.
Actually, he remaxes on Corruptors.
Just spent on Corruptors.
That is interesting. That is really, really interesting. How many Swarmos are left? Only 12.
As long as he doesn't lose his Archons, man. These Archons are actually putting in some serious overtime here. Only 1 mining base remaining for viOlet in the center position.
And there's a Colossus remaining as well. There are no more storms. You have to be careful. These Tempests are suddenly exposed. And now all the Corruptors are about to hatch. This is an incredibly close game. It's really hard to say. This can still go either way. I'm starting to like viOlet's position again, but now both players are broke as a joke. You have to be careful with the Tempest. This time there are no Archons below them, Nate.
Yeah, Tempest moving over. More Templar did walk in, but I think this next wave of Locust should be enough to push him back. He kills the hatcheries, like, okay, that's all I need.
The Corruptors.
He needs to, the Abducts on the Tempest doing pretty well so far.
What a close game.
Just needs to back off with the Tempest. Let the Archons do their dirt.
Madashipur dies as well. Defensive storms are going down. Archon's actually eating those. Corruptors
but
eating
he's killing
those storms.
Like, those Tempests are so important. Like, if he can get air superiority when there's this little money on the map.
For a second, I thought HuK found his probes, but he didn't.
Nope.
Come on, HuK. You have 24 probes here.
They have those 24 probes have been sitting there.
It doesn't really matter now because he's going to fully saturate almost.
Well,
with 7 probes.
It would matter if he took that center base again.
Yeah, or he would start long distance mining.
Yeah, even long. That's better than them sitting there.
That would definitely bring in.
You're still taking up supply. You're still getting paid.
This is so unique now because we have 64 army supply against 108, but for that 108, we have 21 of it in Corruptors. I mean, yes, it's very good against the Colossus and stuff. I mean, viOlet made it through the scariest phase in the game, I think. On one moment, he was almost broke.
He's actually making more
Corruptors.
He's making more Corruptors. I mean, if I were HuK, I probably wouldn't build too many more Colossi, but then again, with Archons, if those Corruptors clump up, you can actually like 2-3 shot the whole clump of all of them.
I mean, it's gonna be difficult for HuK, that's for sure. He's making a Void Ray now. I'm not sure if that would be my unit of choice against 20. I mean, Void Rays against Corruptors, yes, guys, I dig it. A Void Ray against 27 Corruptors.
I'm not digging it.
No,
especially with how broke HuK is. The Storms and Templar, the Templar and the Archons have been doing like, they have really been the MVPs of this game.
It's so cool, like the game number 3 between these two is so incredibly close when they have such a rich history within each other or playing against each other already. Anyway, we build it up a little bit. Now, viOlet is like, hey,
Pathogen Glands, like, you know what?
I'm really broke,
gas on.
but I do have a lot of gas, so Fungo is better than nothing. Even when this is not really, you know, Fungo on Tempest. No, Tempests are massive.
He snipes the Observer. Oh man, this game, he's gonna build.
There's one Void Ray, man.
Now he finally moves these probes.
Oh.
These have been here.
And he's gonna run them straight into their death. The irony is real.
Oh, okay. Whew. He's gonna, what is he gonna do? Long distance mine the left side a little bit.
Fully saturate this one.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
He can't expand there because there's a burrowed roach, but at least he's gonna fully saturate this base.
There's a changeling with the
That's
army.
much better, much better than he was before. With 44 workers, you'd expect the Protoss to have an income lead.
It's one of the roads on burrows immediately. He's like, hey.
Oh, what are these Vipers? Does he just lose one for free? Ouch.
Yep. viOlet has finally taken care of this Dark Templar though on the left bottom side of the map, and that's pretty huge. It's going to allow him to take a new base.
I had Dark Templar. He was.
This roach is
going
to be an epic burrow-on-burrow fight against these 3 zealots and above all these probes. Same time, Locust somehow made it.
HuK really needs that base. Man, what a
HuK's
wild
moving
game.
forward when a lot of the units are out of position. It's just the Locust for now. Save the Archons. The Archons will survive. Now here come all the Corruptors. A couple of storms would be beautiful. Abducts being used.
Ducks those air units.
That Void Ray.
Dad Void Ray, man. Void Rays are good versus Corruptors.
And the Fungals are amazing as well. This ramp.
The Archons.
I think
that's it for HuK,
Yep.
man. That fight just did not seem terribly necessary. He blinked the Stalkers. I would have preferred to see the Archons get moved first. Like, the Archons would just annihilate. Those Corruptors were so clumped.
He didn't see that there were infestors either, and he expected viOlet to be very broke, and viOlet was very broke for a certain phase in the game. Then he sort of bounced back a tiny bit after he got this base up and running again. And above all, you know, I think HuK saw the Roaches and Hydras over here, and he's like, this is my moment, this is my opportunity to kill the Swarmhost. And you know, if viOlet has a little less, then we are the first ones to be like, oh my god, he snipes the Swarmhost when they were exposed. Great move by HuK. However, we had full vision and we saw that there was just barely enough over here for viOlet to defend those units.
Well, now I'm honestly just not sure what he's supposed to do. Like, the 18 Corruptors aren't really a factor anymore, but the rest of the army on the ground, Infestor Swarmhost, you're not going to break it with gateway units. And anything that isn't a gateway unit is also going to get wrecked by the Corruptors.
You know, pretty much the only probes that HuK still has is this one Roach, or these Roaches and Hydras on the left side did take care of the long distance mining. The Stalkers are trying to make something happen over here, but the Observer dies. And I think when all these probes are going to get fungled from the high ground, I think that's pretty much it. What a beautiful way for viOlet to shut HuK down completely. But that's awesome play, Nate. That's really, really awesome play.
Yeah, that's going to be it. viOlet will be the first player from this group to advance on to the round of 16. Some very long, intense Swarmhost games. But that does now mean that our final match is going to be a PvP between the two Americans.
Yep, it's an awesome series between HuK and viOlet once more. The rivalry will go on. There is a chance that they both advance to the round of 16, and I think with the way that they have been playing lately, there is a small chance they would run into each other in the round of 8 for something or something like that. Completely possible. I can't wait for the next time that these two guys are going to face off, but for now, that's going to be it for viOlet. He moves on to the round of 16. HuK, on the other hand, he's going to get a couple of minutes, of course, after that long series to get himself together. And it's going to be everything or nothing for the EG Protoss when he goes up against the young American Protoss player Arium. So guys, stay tuned and we'll be right back with the conclusion, the deciding series of the day, if it's going to be HuK or Arium. We'll find out soon.